playing for Invictus Gaming, he is MacSed.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right location, playing for one of the strongest StarCraft teams on Earth until very recently, and some argue he still is, considered one of the best Protosses on Earth. He's in a 1-0 lead at the moment. Can he close it out 2-0? We have Parting.
So are we expecting to see some similar play out of Parting? Do you expect to see that Stargate again? Is that something that he could rely on? And would it have been half as effective if MacSed had gone for Blink instead of Dark Templar?
Well, I think Blink is better on this map than it is on the previous one. I mean, if we take a look, there's actually just a little bit more surface area to blink up into the main and the natural on Ohana, and it just makes it just more of a blink-friendly place to be. This middle of the map is a lot more open, so you're not going to be seeing a lot of cliff abuse until you get aggressive into one player's base. Yeah. And for that reason, just forward pylons and Blink tend to be quite useful. Blink Observer play in particular is relatively popular on Ohana. I was a little bit disappointed that MacSed went for the DT opening, I have to be honest, because I think that MacSed is possibly the strongest Protoss in China, and I would love to see him just play like a really strong go into late game, straight up game against Parting, and I don't actually think that would be a walkover. I think MacSed maybe not feeling the most confident right now. I mean, he is playing a very, very illustrious opponent, don't get me wrong, but I think he's also really, really good, and I'd like to see him take the fight to Parting here in game 2.
Well, he is very good, and he gets to play a lot against Top, right? Because Phoenix Top is also another Chinese player that plays Protoss, and he's known for also being super, super strong as well. And really, it is going to end up being that toss-up between MacSed and Top for that Protoss crown up in China. Now, over here, we don't see Parting going for his second gas as soon as we saw him do it in the previous game. Both the players have started their first Zealot.
Yep, so not too much out of the ordinary now. Completely standard so far. Second gas being taken now from Parting. Almost at identical times to MacSed, so these guys have decided, all right, not too much going on in the early game at the moment. I'm not going to be going for super scary shenanigans here. I'm not going to be trying to throw one out of right field or anything like that. Just going to play it nice, calm, and collected. And of course, both sides have the scouting probes at the moment, so any early deviations in tech will be spotted quite quickly. You're going to wait for a Zealot and presumably the Stalker, as both of them are popping out now, to drive the probes out of the base before these players decide on their tech.
Oh, and I would venture to say that MacSed is just ever so marginally ahead as far as literally everything goes. We can see that all of his buildings, and because they're pretty much doing the exact same thing, right? So he's 5 seconds ahead, man. He just needs to keep building that lead, and he can take this game.
And if only this was Tal'Darim and it was a 4-gate versus 4.
Oh, every second matters, man.
It could mean everything.
Dude, you get that one extra volley on those stalkers. Whoop!
He picks off the scouting probe as well from Parting. Not expecting that. Was our Korean Protoss player going to be moving back now with that Zealot, because he just doesn't have that scouting information anymore, and this is MacSed's opportunity to get a couple of early games kills here, as both sides go for the robotics facility, but Parting going for an additional gateway as well.
Most certainly now MacSed is just going to be able to move back to his watchtower as he waits for a couple additional reinforcements out there. You can get as much map control as you really want, but really there's not too much that you're going to actually see from that. Essentially, you'll just see the Stalker generally bounce around between the third and the natural, just see when those units are going to move out, and they're just so quick anyway that we're likely not going to see it go down. But whoa, MacSed pushing a little bit far up that main. Will he sustain any hull damage up here? Nope.
No, it doesn't look like it. And what I really like about MacSed's play in this position, it has to be said, is that he managed to pick off a probe, and he also harassed the units at the beginning. So Parting doesn't know for sure whether this is going to be any sort of massive attack.
Right.
If there's going to be any sort of aggression.
Oh, and it may very well be a massive attack. We've got those 2 gates being added on, and he's also got the Immortal out there, adding on a 3rd gate, so that is going to put him up to 4.
Yes.
Where is the other one?
Oh, there we go.
Got it. Wait a minute.
So going up to 4 gateways and then the robotics facility with an Immortal, this could very well be a huge aggression play coming out of MacSed here in game number 2. So it looks like maybe not going for that huge straight-up play that we might have decided earlier.
Oh, and Parting going for the natural as well. This can put him into a lot of trouble because he doesn't know that that 4-gate is ready and waiting. He doesn't know that there's a pylon out at where his 3rd base would be. So MacSed can be in a... or there will be a... I assume that that's what that probe is for.
Yeah, he can't really build too much else with that probe at this moment in time. I don't think it's for
on a simulator. He's just going to place in a simulator in case of base.
I'm going to expand here. He'll never expect it. And everything is actually seen by Parting at the moment. So all 4 gateways and the Robo are spotted. So he's going to have a pretty good inkling of what's going on. He's actually going to be moving out into the center of the map himself. Now, what was important about what MacSed was doing earlier was that he was holding the watchtower early on in the game. And especially in a PvP, you really want to make sure that your opponent isn't sneaking in a probe out into the center of the map so that you're prepared for any potential scouting pylon kind of shenanigans. And for that reason, MacSed was able to know to an absolute certainty now.
Oh!
Is he going to get that observer?
He needs one more shot onto it. Oh, wow. Escapes with that 4 HP. Oh, man. That thing is not going to be able to be... Actually, I wonder if he moves.
There, man.
No, you cannot.
No, so it doesn't look like it, and Parting's going to be moving back into his main base. And now, good spot there. And his Nexus going down a little bit later as well. So he's going to try and make up for this with that robotics bay that is about to complete, which means MacSed will be able to get to that Colossus tech just that little bit faster. Parting has not seen that the robotics bay has been put down. So I wonder if MacSed will be able to use this to squeeze out a Colossi advantage in game number 2. Of course, on the flip side, we have Parting getting his natural expansion down just that little bit earlier. We can see he's actually up to 37 over 27 right now. He's been chronoing those probes like nobody's business, but MacSed is going to use this opportunity, hopefully, to do just a little bit of a push, maybe with the first Colossus, for example. That would be a decent timing.
Well, you have to. You have to get out there and at least kill something from his army, make him have to either stop his probe production or lose a good chunk of his army. Now, as he moves out, that Colossus is going to take so long to join the army, and really oh no, the Immortal is trapped, and those 3 Immortals are going to destroy the one half of the Immortal army that MacSed had available.
Yeah, this is, I'm afraid this has gone pretty terribly for MacSed. He didn't send a unit out to scout the watchtower first, and as a result was just able to get his army segregated by those force fields, trying to zone out Parting at the moment, but I don't actually know why he's attempting to engage into this. No, he does have the Colossus out now, but there are 3 Immortals with this army from Parting. He has to be so careful.
Well, after losing that first Immortal of his own, he really cannot be dilly-dallying out in the center of the map. Oh, man. All right, so we've got one of the force fields being laid down. The Colossus did crush straight through it, but this is actually MacSed getting slightly baited out here. He doesn't need to move that much farther out, and Parting can just turn around, focus fire down the Colossus, and murder him.
Oh, he needs to be so careful. Those Immortals do so much damage to the Colossus if they actually get within range. And he doesn't have enough force field energy, or does he, to try and fend off this ramp right now. These guys are just going for a little bit of a back and forth at the moment, but Parting has more workers behind him. Good force fields, picking off a couple of Stalkers there, but these Immortals are now starting to do damage, picking... Oh, wow. Quickly that Colossus goes down.
Volleying straight down, sending the lone Immortal into the Lion's Den. Will he be able to take down the lone Colossus? No! It escapes with 4 HP, and MacSed is able to cling to life just by the skin of his teeth.
Here's the problem, though. At the end of the day, Parting is still continuing to produce probes behind this. He's producing 2 at a time, and he's up to 50 versus 27. That's why he can afford to push through right now, and MacSed is going to be in a world of hurt in a couple of minutes' time, because at the end of the day, look at this. MacSed hasn't been producing probes at this
Not
Nexus.
at all.
He has Chrono Boost, and he's able to produce probes, but he hasn't done it for quite a while now, and it looks like Parting going to try and turn around and pick off a couple more of these Colossi. MacSed, at least on top of that 4 HP Colossus now has regenerated about half of his shields. But
he still has to run from it, right? You don't want that Colossus to die. That's essentially all that he's using to stay alive over here. And as that Colossus count falls, really MacSed won't have anything else to defend out here. And now, MacSed pushing out just a little bit too far. All of those Stalkers able to pick out the units in front, and he only has a single Immortal to back him up, and it's caught all alone.
Yeah, I think this is the point of no return for MacSed here. It's 99 supply versus 54 as one of the Colossus goes down. He's got a single one left to his name right now, and Parting is laying siege to the outside. The problem is, if we take a quick look at the income tab, MacSed simply doesn't have enough to sort of constantly warp in defense, and Parting is just able to trade all day, every day in this position.
Well, when you've got as many probes as your opponent has army and probes put together, you're looking pretty good. So we're just going to see Parting continually throw away his army until MacSed just has nothing left. There's the GG. StarTale.PartinG takes the series 2-0 to advance.